Hey guys, in this video I want to share with you the steps of what you should focus on to build an online business. And I want to share with you some of the common practices and areas that you really should take into consideration when you are serious about wanting to actually build a sustainable business online. And also some of the common hurdles and misconceptions that can actually stop you from actually taking action. So make sure to stick around until the end of the video, and I will be sharing with you a lot of these concepts and how you can actually move forward with them. But I'll also be sharing with you a valuable resource that you can use and provide you with information of how to overcome a lot of these issues so that you can really just focus on actually getting started. So make sure to keep watching. So to give a brief outline of the video, what will we be covering here? We will be covering the concept of actually getting started and then breaking it down to choosing an idea and what you should really be focusing on, and then also to break down identifying your target audience. Who is your audience and what can you provide for them? We will also take a look into the tools and services that you can actually use to get started. You don't actually need an expensive budget, or you don't need the most expensive tools, or you don't even need a lot of tools to actually get started. So I will give a brief breakdown of some of the tools and best practices that you can literally use just to get yourself started in the right direction. And from there we will look into how you can actually build the foundations for your business and how you can actually use the steps involved to actually keep moving forward. So with getting started, what steps should I take to actually get started? Ideally you need to set up a basic structure that you can begin following pretty much from the get-go so that you can check off tasks as you move forward. You need to set up a good routine and a solid structure so that can actually help you to actually just gain traction, or at least just to help you take those initial steps to actually get moving. So what you want to do is, when you're looking to start a business, by all means you want to find a way to make money online and even to build some sort of sustainability. And if you've watched any of the previous videos in this series where I have gone through some of the common misconceptions and hurdles that people actually have to overcome when they're actually wanting to build a sustainable business, you want to identify what your areas of interest are. You want to identify your own passions, and then you want to use those passions and interests to be able to provide information to people that are also looking for help in those areas that you have knowledge about. So ideally you want to be able to understand what interests you that would also help you to get started, and from there you want to aim to become the authority figure in that chosen area. And once you've actually done that, finding something that actually interests you also will help you and help your audience in the long term. And another question you do need to really ask yourself, is this actually going to be just a short-term project or a long-term journey? And if you're working in a 9-to-5 job and you're quite happy with having your online business as a side project, then you can do that. If you're quite comfortable in doing that, then that's totally fine. But if you do want to eventually transition into a full-time opportunity, then you really do need to start thinking of this process as a long-term investment and a long-term journey, because eventually you're going to aim to try and make this into a full-time project where you're going to be working on it consistently for the next number of years and even further afield. And also be willing to ask yourself, what ways do you want to get your vision out into the world? What platforms or methods do you actually want to utilize to be able to actually help you put your content out in front of the right type of people that are looking for that information? So to break it down into its core ideas, the first thing you really do need to start off with, especially when you're looking at the bare basics of starting a business, when you're generally wanting to create any sort of content so that you can start eventually seeing results online, is you need to start off with ideas. So you need to ask yourself, what do you want to do and how do you want to actually start building? So what you want to do is you want to work with ideas within a niche that you actually like, where you have some familiarity or knowledge that you know can be useful to others that are also looking for that information. You should also be willing to work in areas that you're actually passionate about, as this in turn will actually help you to stay motivated to keep building as you go. Because if you choose an idea or a topic in an area that you're not as familiar with and that you don't really understand or even as passionate about, it'd be very, very hard for you to stay motivated in the long term. And even give you an example of this, I myself have actually previous projects I worked on before I started this YouTube channel. I had worked on other ideas and they were good ideas at the time, but I realized very quickly after the first couple of weeks or couple of months that I was finding it very, very hard to stay motivated or stay consistent, and I quickly realized that they weren't really the avenues that I thought they would be to get involved with. It's not to say that they were bad, but they definitely weren't something that I was 100% passionate about. But at the same time, you have to go through this process in order to figure out what it is that you truly are passionate about, because once you figure out your passions and what you're really knowledgeable about and what you're really interested in, that's the area that you're eventually going to focus on when you do start to implement the strategies. Because if you try to focus on an area you're not passionate about, you will not remain consistent, and you more than likely before long you will end up giving up. But at the same time, it's all an experience. Sometimes you do have to go through these hurdles to be able to understand all of this, so you just do need to take those initial steps in order to move forward. So once you've actually come up with a few different ideas, the next thing you want to do is, with those ideas, is to actually figure out a chosen niche. What area are you passionate about, and try and find a niche that actually fits into your passions and interests. So you need to choose an area that you actually do have a unique interest in, preferably an area that you already have some sort of familiarity with and you have knowledge around, because as you work with topics that interest you, it will benefit your audience in the long run. And ideally you want to start off with small steps. So start off small but aim high. Think of the long-term benefits of where you want to be, and think of the long-term benefits that your audience is going to gain from you creating the content that they need. Because ideally it's one thing to create a business for yourself, but you can't just think of it as what it is that you want. You always have to come at it from the angle, what do my audience need, what does the customer want? Because ideally if you have no customers or followers, you potentially don't have a business. So you do need to think of it with that idea in mind. So once you have all these ideas built up, again, working with something in an area that you enjoy does help to keep you motivated, because if you are motivated and you're creating the best type of content, your audience will greatly benefit from that further down the line. So the next thing you need to identify is who is your target audience, and identifying what customers want and how you can position yourself to help them will go a long way for you to actually build a sustainable business online. Some of the key points to look out for is that you want to highlight ideally the pain points of the customers and how you can become an authority in your chosen area to provide solutions to their problems. That's ideally what you want to do. If you are deciding to create content, you need to come at it from the angle, how can this content benefit those that are looking for that information? Can I put it in front of the right type of people that will actually use it? And if so, how is it going to benefit me further down the line? Will people still return after I create that content? Will they find it relevant? Will they find it useful? Will they actually reach out to me, engage and ask questions? All these things do come into mind when you're trying to identify your target audience. Because if you decide to create content in a specific niche on your, say if you're doing a blog or a YouTube channel, but then you start creating content around different topics and other areas and niches, it's going to be very, very hard for your audience to gauge exactly what it is that you're trying to do, and the chances are they'll quickly bounce. So you need to stay consistent. You need to know exactly who your audience is, what they want and what you can provide for them. So just to break it down, just to give it a more simplistic idea, is that when you're looking to identify your target audience's needs, you need to identify what they're actually looking for. You also need to look at what you can provide to them that will actually help them solve any problems. And then from there, what you need to do is create value and benefit driven content that actually does help to solve user queries and problems. And once you start doing that, the next stage would be ideally to build authority and become a leader in your chosen area, which will keep them coming back. This also helps to build brand awareness and increase engagement so that you can actually build trust with your audience, so that they will reach out to you and you can engage with them over time. So now we get on to the nitty gritty and probably one of the most important aspects or overlooked aspects of building a business. So many times we actually come into this area and we think we need every tool and kit and course under the sun to teach us exactly what we need to know. And the reality is you actually don't. You just need to keep things as relatively simple as possible. But you do need a place to start. So here I'm quickly just going to go over some of the key features of what you can implement and some of the platforms that you can use to get started with today. And they won't actually really cost you anything to get started. So ideally, what services do you actually need to get started and what should you actually focus on? And again, you don't need expensive tools or services to start an online business. If you're on a limited budget, you can start with free tools. And once you get familiar and you get consistent, then you can upgrade when you can afford to. And as your business grows, you will grow alongside your business. So by figuring out the tools and services you want to use, this will also help you to determine what type of content you want to create. So you want to use a platform that caters to your own individual experience and skill level, especially if you're a beginner, and just gradually work from there. So you need to ask yourself, do you want to create written content? So if you want to create written content, ideally you want to create a blog. Or if you want to work with video like what I'm doing here, you want to ideally work with some sort of video channel like of YouTube. Or do you want to take other routes where you want to do more marketing, if you want to do email marketing, or if you want to do likes of social media marketing? There's avenues out there for all those as well. Like there's loads of tools that you can utilize that will actually help you gain the traction that you need. And also with so many tools available, you also do need to ask yourself, with so many platforms to build a business, which one should I use, or should I implement them all? But ideally, from my experience, and a lot of people will actually tell you, just pick one platform. Just pick one for now and work from there. And then focus on that platform for at least 6 to 12 months if you can do that before you implement any further strategies. Because ideally you want to get familiar with that platform that you're utilizing. You want, if you're using YouTube like I'm doing, you want to get used to setting up a routine for yourself, how you record videos, how you edit videos, how you get better audio out of your videos, how you can create different transitions to increase video engagement and the like, creating better thumbnails for your videos, creating better written descriptions, how to use keywords, how to write better titles and tags. There's so many different things that you want to focus on, but it's all within that chosen area. But once you become familiar in that area, then you can branch out into other areas. Then you can look into maybe building a blog to complement your video channel, or even then do email marketing once you start establishing yourself more. And then even you can utilize social media once you've built up enough of an online presence. Because once you begin to see results from just using one platform for the first while, then you can obviously then start to increase engagement using those other mediums as I mentioned. But ideally, the one thing you don't want to do starting off is you don't want to become a jack of all trades. Like, I understand you want to get in and dig in at the deep end and work your way up. The problem is with that is that you're laying too many bricks on different foundations, but you're not actually focusing on one particular area. And what happens is your ideas, your concepts, your time and your energy become all scattered everywhere, and it actually just drains you mentally and physically, and it actually stops you from really seeing any progress. Because if you've multiple things on the go, each one of those things never really goes beyond or grows beyond a certain point, and you never really see any results. It's when you actually scale back and you focus only on one thing for a while that you will start to see results. And a lot of beginners get caught out with that when they first start off, so it's something that you really do need to be aware of. I myself have made this mistake as well, so I know I'm not the only one. So to give you an example of what I actually mean by the tools and features that you can start, now there's so many of them online. You can use like different page builders, there's likes of Elementor, there's Strive themes. But if you don't have the ability to be able to pay for the monthly subscriptions, then you can use free alternatives. You can build websites using the likes of Google Sites. You can also come over to WordPress.com and sign up for a free account. Now, although you will have the WordPress.com domain as the domain extension, but ideally it's still a perfect way to get started, and then as you grow you can implement other ways and upgrade from there, as I mentioned. But if you do want to get into video, depending on what angles you want to take or how you want to build your business, whether you're doing affiliate marketing or whatever type of business it is you want to do, you can create your own YouTube channel like I've done here, and you can go about creating value and benefit driven content that actually creates curiosity with your audience, so that they'll keep coming back for more. So you can provide them with information with the likes of helpful product reviews, give them an idea of what's good or what's not so good, so that they can actually also move forward with building a business. Because ideally the audience that you're looking for is the same type of person that you were when you first started. You're also looking for this information, so you need to come at it from that perspective. You think you put yourself in your audience's shoes. I'm a beginner, I'm looking for this information to help me build a business. So can this person provide that information to me? So that's where you want to be. You want to be in that position to be able to provide that authority, provide that information. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. Once you become aware of this, you will be able to start seeing results. But even if you want to go down different routes of creating other types of video content, you can even create the likes of games channels if you're completely wanting to build a different type of online business, if you want to do more entertainment focused business. business. It really is up to you in terms of what angles you want to take with your business. So when you've gone through the entire processes of actually picking the platform of how to portray it, you can then go on to the likes of email marketing, or even if you do want to get started with this, you can start off even on the likes of Aweber. You can get started with a free plan, and you can get access to have a limit of up to 500 emails before you actually have to pay for the platform. But it's still a fantastic way to actually get started. You can also use social media platforms the likes of Pinterest, where you can create visual pins, and a lot of people use platforms like this solely to build up business. They don't use any of the other mediums. They can just literally use the likes of Pinterest. Other people even use the likes of Facebook. They join Facebook groups, or they create their own Facebook groups and get involved with communities and increase engagement and brand awareness from there. And then what they can do then is they can use the elements of this to drive traffic to their other media platforms, and even engage with them through email to follow up with them once they've built up enough trust and value, so that they can actually keep moving forward and to really scale their business to the next level. But again, that's something that you can worry about as and when your business grows. So ideally, once you have everything ready and you have everything in place that you want to use, then you can start building. And ideally, you want to set up a solid structure and a routine for yourself that will actually help you stay focused and remain consistent while you're actually on this long-term journey of building your business. And when you become the authority figure in your area or niche, you will see the results, and your audience will benefit from the value that you provide to them. That's the key. So as you're building your business, the main thing to realise and to benefit you in the long run is to not go gung-ho with trying to do everything at once, like I mentioned. Don't become a jack of all trades. The simplest way to put it is to literally build your business in blocks or stages. So as your business grows, always strive to improve and keep leveling up your skills as you grow. Never just settle for one particular thing when you actually start to grow, and never just settle and currently where you are. Always strive to be improving at least 1% each and every day, and at least 1% with each piece of content that you create. And another key area, as I have mentioned in other videos in this series, is to stay focused and to stay in your lane. Stay on your chosen path. Stay within your niche and try and stick to the topics and keep them related as much as you can, because this helps to increase engagement with your audience, and it also allows your audience to value your presence a lot more online. And the majority of people coming to your channel will actually subscribe or follow you based off that value driven content, because it's in that area or that niche that they're looking for information on. So you want to stay in that lane as much as you possibly can. Remember, by doing this, your audience greatly benefits from the content as much as you do, and by doing this you can build trust, and it actually gives your audience multiple reasons to return. So again, always make sure to create content that benefits and solves problems for your audience, and then it's just a case of rinsing and repeating every single day. So just to go over some assumptions as to what to look out for when you're starting out. It is easy to assume that once we create a few pieces of content that we are set for life, but that isn't the case. This usually happens with a lot of people when they're starting out. They create like 5 or 10 videos and then they can't understand why they're not getting subscribers, they're not getting views on their content, because they think that it's an instant thing, that they're going to see results overnight. It doesn't happen that way. You need to keep working on your craft and improve each day, as when you grow, your audience and business will greatly benefit, which will keep existing customers coming back and also open up new opportunities for our new people to get involved, which will greatly benefit everyone involved. Like I said, it's just a case of rinsing and repeating every day, and always keep allowing yourself to move forward and to fail forward and keep improving 1% all the time. So once you've got to a point where you're starting to see results, what next? Where do you go from here? Once your business starts to gain momentum, start looking at other avenues to be able to drive traffic to your content. This is going back to what I was saying when you're starting out. Just pick one lane, one strategy and one platform and stick at it for as long as you can. When it starts to gain momentum, then you can start opening the doors to other avenues. You can use social media, email marketing and the like, but you ideally want to build those foundations first. So then when you have done that, you can expand your skill set and improve where you can. And remember, just to improve when you have time to work on certain areas, and try to improve as much as you can while you can. Always keep thinking and have an idea of where you want to be as an entrepreneur, or even with your business, say in 5 or even 10 years from now, if you're actually thinking of it as a long-term asset. And always keep striving to work towards your goals. And like I said at the start of the video, start small and aim high. So like I mentioned at the start of the video, if you are still unsure about some of the avenues or some of the ideas that you actually are unfamiliar with, and you're still you're still on the fence about what you should actually do and some of the steps that you should take, Below in the description is a link to a free web class that you can actually check out, where my mentor Philip Bowerman will actually teach you some of the proven steps and processes of how to overcome a lot of these hurdles, so that you can really start to just get focused and really just being consistent, so that you can get started with building a business and actually start to see real results online. Again, make sure to check that out. The link will be below. So I'd love to know what your thoughts of this process are. Are you currently starting an online business, or are you still on the fence about actually wanting to get started? Be sure to leave any comments or questions down below. And if you'd like more helpful guides and tips that actually can teach you ways of how to actually gain traction in your business, and even just to help you actually just get started, then make sure to leave a like on the video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to be updated when future videos are released. And also be sure to check out some of the other videos here where I actually have provided other helpful guides and tips in other areas to show you how you can overcome shiny object syndrome, how you can actually focus so that you can actually really make a difference and see results in your business. So make sure to check them out, and I'll see you all in the next one.